Hey everybody, Tiffany Stacey here, aka Tiffany Wilson, and I'm the owner of Tiffany Stacey Photography and Video LLC. And I provide weekly tips to help you create better video content. So, in the stream, everybody, I'm going to be talking about the Canon R5 and whether or not you should rent or buy the camera. Now, this camera came out July of 2020, so it's not a super new camera, but it's still relatively new. But before we get to that, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Please definitely subscribe to me. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I post every week. And also, if you want to be able to create better video content, please feel free to go and click on the checklist in the description box that I have in the description. It's a checklist, a little checklist that you can use to hopefully keep you on track when you're creating your video content. So, of course, this stream would not be complete without a personal, shameless plug. And as I always say, I'm all about looking your best. And I provide professional video production, video editing, and photography services. On the photography front, I provide headshots, personal branding photos, event coverage. On the video front, I provide video editing services. So what I typically do, if you can't, if you don't have in your budget to have somebody come out and shoot, I provide video editing services where I take your existing footage, I turn it into something that looks professional and polished. I've edited all types of stuff, speaker reels, YouTube videos, client testimonials, real estate, fundraising, recruitment, just about anything, event stuff. So I'm all about the highlights for your social media, behind the scenes, all that good stuff. And of course, if you need video production services, I do shoot. And if you need those services, please feel free to let me know. Let me hide that. All right, you guys. So as I was saying, I recently rented the R5, the Canon R5, because I am in the market to hopefully upgrade in the next several months. So I'm looking currently for a new camera. My current camera, actually the one that I use on my streams, is the Canon 6D Mark II. I've had it for a few years, and it's I've not had any issues. I really like my camera, but I do want to upgrade. And that's because I'm looking for a camera that is good with 4K capabilities. As you know, a lot of stuff has gone 4K. So I'm looking for a camera that can do that as well. Now, I thought about possibly renting a Sony camera because I'm thinking about making that crossover, but I am not a fair weather fan. I'm willing to stick it out with Canon as long as I can. But Canon's going to have to deliver on the video capabilities. They're still very much a work in progress. And this goes all the way back to when I got my first camera with them, which was the Rebel T3i. Great camera. It was really kind of revolutionary at the time because it was a great camera that you could use for your YouTube videos. Plus, the biggest thing was that it had a swivel screen. And that was like super awesome. I loved it. So it was great when I was shooting YouTube videos. I could like look at myself and make sure that I was in frame. So that was like really big at the time. And of course now, I think most cameras, especially if you have video on that camera, it does do the little swivel thing. So that's awesome. So the thing is with this review, is that I'm not a super technical person. I tend to speak in, I guess they would say, layman's terms, because I noticed that with a lot of review videos, people get super technical, talking about megapixels, blah, 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 all this stuff that like, I don't think people really care about. Here's the thing. So I always ask myself a series of different questions. And one of these questions is, can the camera, and I'm going to see if I can do it like this. Can the camera produce the results that I need for it to produce? That's the one very first question I ask. Then question number 2, is it user friendly? Is it intuitive? Because I'm a longtime Canon user, is it intuitive? Can I easily pull it out the box and kind of figure out, with my general knowledge of being a Canon user, can I use it? And number 3 is, if there's an issue, can I easily find the answers to my problems? So is it good at basically troubleshooting? So here's the thing. As I said before earlier, the Canon R5 came out in July 2020. It retails for $38.99 for the body only. Keep that in mind, because some of you know, lenses can be just as expensive as the body. So if you guys know anything about this camera, please feel free to share your experience or your comments on this particular camera. Or if anything, please simply like this video, help a girl out on the algorithm algorithm front. So first and foremost, I am going to go through all the pros and cons of this camera, and then I'm going to actually just kind of evaluate, should you rent this camera or should you go ahead and pay for it, basically. And let me get a little bit of a drink, a drag. Same herbal tea. I just keep it simple. I'm a simple person. But, as you see, I have my favorite mug. So we're going to go into the pros and cons. So, first and foremost, what I liked, what was and I'm going to bring this down, what the selling point was for this camera and why I was thinking about buying it, is that you can use your old Canon lenses on this camera. You just need an adapter, which is a little bit extra, but I feel for the amount of money that we spend on lenses, this was great for me, that I wouldn't have to buy a lens right up front for a camera. So here's the adapter here of a lovely picture I took, and you just put it on the front, and or actually you could put it on a lens, and then you could I guess twist the lens on, which is pretty cool. So that's what I'm all about, saving money as much as I can. You can't always do that, but that would be a huge selling point for anybody, I'm sure. Next up is that I actually really liked the fact that it could capture like beautiful B-roll. And that's really my primary use for using a video camera, is capturing, if I'm using video, is interviews and capturing B-roll, and hopefully being able to use it for my live streams. So I actually have some video footage of some of the footage that I captured, and hopefully I can get this working. Whoa, what is going on here? Come on, I hope this works for me. I had everything laid out. Oh, here we go. Perfect. And let me share my screen. I'm going to share this screen. You're going to see me, but then you're not going to see me. Maximize it. Let's see if this is what I'm looking for. Okay, that's exactly what. All All right, this is the beauty of technology, and I'm going to take these headphones out because I can hear the sound from the video, or I can just mute this actually. All right, so here's some of the B-roll footage. As you can see, it captured excellent video, B-roll footage. I took this into a park and I just kind of shot some flowers and stuff. So I'm going to just let this play as I talk about this camera. Now, there's been some issues with this camera in terms of it overheating, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I did notice that just kind of trying it out, and I had to actually use this for a conference as well, but just kind of trying it out, it did not get hot at 4K. And that's an issue with Canon cameras. And I wish they would figure something out with this as far as like continuous shooting. I wish they would figure out a way to be able to shoot without all of these issues. This has been an ongoing problem with Canon, and with as far as the cameras kind of overheating as they shoot video. So I wish that they would just figure this thing out. They've had like a good 10 years or so to figure this out. So I don't know what they're going to do. They need to figure it out. But anyway, the other part of this is that the other pro of this was I noticed that they had a designated headphone jack. So that's telling me that they are taking into account that they want to be a camera that people can go to for their video needs. My Canon 6D does not have a headphone jack, which I actually just found out about this just recently, and it kind of freaked me out. So it's nice to be able to kind of see how they have addressed some of these concerns that people have. Because as I know, a lot of people are vlogging and they're getting into the video, and you need to be able to kind of hear yourself and hear what's going on. So and if you have an interview, that's super important too. So you want to be able to know that audio is being recorded on that camera. Anyway, now we're going into the cons, and there was a huge con. And so I don't even know, this might take me forever to bring up because it's like crazy. But I shot some footage of myself, and I got to bring it up. So I think this was it. Was it me demo? Okay, I think it was this one. Let's excuse this. Okay, so this was me basically. And I wanted to actually, if you can catch this, there's a little glitch like right there. I'm gonna rewind it. It's right when I kind of stand back. See, there's a little glitch there. So this was a huge con to me because every time I had an interview or I was shooting B-roll at this conference, I noticed there was like a little quick glitch right at the beginning. I don't know exactly what this was. I don't know if this was a autofocus thing, but it was really bothering me. And I asked the person that ended up editing our footage, and I asked her if she had any issues with this, and she said she didn't see it, but I see it on the B-roll. So it is there. So, okay. My other thing is, and this usually happens when you get new cameras. You have to download the drivers so you can be able to like look at the photos and the footage, which I did all that. And I was trying to review the footage on my computer, but I had some issues with that. And so I'm going to bring this down. Take down my shared screen. I had some issues with now where was I? Okay. Yeah, I had some issues with reviewing the footage. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I think because maybe it was shot in 4K and the files were so large, there was some issues. So I tried to download the driver, and it wasn't that easy. And I tried to look it up online. I tried to look it up on YouTube, but for some reason, I just really couldn't find really any solid answers as to why this was happening. So what I ended up doing, I just ended up dragging and dropping the files within Premiere Pro and just putting them into like a proxy and being able to review them that way. And that's the way I did it. So it was annoying. So, but also next up, as far as a con, was that I couldn't shoot with the photography. So I couldn't shoot with the lens. So I don't know what it was. I think it might have been a compatibility issue. So this was another thing. Because I had to use an adapter, I ended up having some issues when I tried to switch over to the photography. Now, I did some troubleshooting, never found out exactly what was going on. I don't know if the lens, if there was some issue, but I meant to call a customer service to see. But at that point, I was so frustrated with the whole experience and having to look up instructions just to shoot alone and not being able to get any photos. So yeah, that didn't work. And then other point is that it wasn't very intuitive at all. I thought it was going to be pretty intuitive. I thought I could just pull it out, and just do what I normally do with my cameras, and it would be fine. But and it's mostly touchscreen. So with my Canon 6D, it basically it's like hybrid. So some of it you have to use some buttons, and some of it is touchscreen. But with the Sony R, or not the Sony, the Canon R5, it was all touchscreen. So I definitely had to go online, watch a video, and kind of figure out some of the buttons, and it was pretty much easy from there, but it still wasn't something that I was familiar with. Next up is that 4K, it takes up a lot of memory. I was going to send my files to our editor that I typically, the way I typically send them, with regular HD quality videos, but the 4K files were so large, I had to just give her the memory cards. So yeah, that's something to think about. Also, the biggest thing with this camera is that it has 8K. So there's 8K capabilities. I didn't even know we were there yet, but apparently we are. And I guess Canon thought this would be a great selling point for people. But I was just reading an article the other day saying that people don't really care about that. And I didn't care about it either. It was just kind of like, I know you're trying to compete with Sony, but you really have to look at what we're looking at. And 8K, we're just not there yet. That's not where our focus is. So at least it isn't for me. So Canon, you got to get together. And then also, of course, it doesn't shoot continuously. Again, this goes way back to the Rebel cameras, where the cameras cannot shoot continuously. And it does shoot, this camera, or the R5 does shoot continuously up to 30 minutes according to the website. I didn't get there because, again, I only was shooting B-roll. So I believe that Canon has had plenty of time to figure out how we could shoot in 4K continuously. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. And I'm curious to see what happens next, because Canon is supposed to come out with a new version of the R5 next year, early next year, I think. And I'm curious to see, because there was so many issues with the R5 with it overheating that they had to I guess send out new firmware, and so the firmware kind of corrects that problem. But they just need to figure out a way to have all of these things when they first produced the camera, have all of these things that they should have corrected on cameras way before. They should have that before they actually send out some of these newer cameras, because we've all been complaining about it. So anyway, so here's my conclusion. And if you are interested in this camera, please feel free to share your thoughts on this in the comments, or again, you can simply like this video. So I'm not very picky. I'm not a picky person. I am all about, if it looks good, then you have me as a customer. You already have me as a Canon customer, because here's the thing. I am not a super technical person. I tend to look at things through the eyes of what the client would see, and some of the little details that people typical, like, photographers and videographers might see, the client's not going to see it. So I look at it from that perspective. So here's the thing. There is another version of this camera. There's an R6, which is less expensive, and it shoots in 4K. I think it was retailing for $24.99 on Amazon as far as yesterday. And I'm thinking about looking into that, possibly renting that camera. So my thing is, if you're looking for a dedicated video camera, this camera I don't think is really for you, especially if you're looking to shoot continuously. I would definitely not use it as a primary video camera. It's still on the hybrid video and photography front. So that's just something to keep in mind. And here's the thing. So here's my conclusion. Would I rent this camera or would I buy this camera? And I would say rent. I would stick to renting for it for right now. And that's because it's just not there yet for me. I wasn't too overly sold for it. So I will check out the R6 at some point and see where it goes. And maybe I'll do a review on here about that. So hopefully next year, I'm looking forward to their upgrades. I am excited. So hopefully this was a very informative live stream for you. I am not all about the mumbo jumbo technical stuff. I am very straight to the point where it's easy for anybody to understand. So I hope this was comprehensive for all of you out there. If you have any ideas, or if you like for me to, include some ideas for video topics, please feel free to send me a message. I am out there and I'm always looking for new content and valuable content that you guys can take away and hopefully use and apply to your life. So anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Please feel free to get that checklist in my description on creating better video content. And as I always said, I will be back next week. And I hope everybody has a safe and healthy rest of your week. All right. Bye-bye.